The hidden danger. In the year 2157, Earth was under siege. The skies were darkened by alien ships, their engines humming ominously. The invaders, known as the Takara, were a fearsome race, highly advanced and ruthless. They had swept across planets, leaving destruction in their wake. Earth, with its human inhabitants, was now their latest target. The Takara thought they had crushed all hope. Cities lay in ruins, and the remaining humans were scattered and hiding. The invaders believed that victory was certain. However, they had underestimated the resilience of the human spirit. In the smoldering remains of New York City, a small group of survivors gathered in the shadows. Among them was Jack Carter, a former Army captain who had seen many battles. Despite his worn appearance and the scars of war, Jack's eyes still burned with determination. He had led the survivors since the Takara's arrival, and his leadership was their beacon of hope. The group had taken refuge in an old subway tunnel, now a makeshift base. The tunnel was dimly lit by flickering lanterns, casting long shadows on the walls. The survivors had managed to gather supplies from abandoned stores and scavenged what they could. They knew they were living on borrowed time. One evening, as Jack examined a map of the city, he heard a faint noise. It was a sound not of alien ships or explosions, but of something else. Whispers, quiet but urgent. Jack's ears perked up. He signaled to his second-in-command, Maria, a tech expert with a knack for fixing old equipment. "What's that sound?" Jack asked. Maria, her face illuminated by the glow of a broken monitor, frowned. "I don't know. It's not one of the Takara patrols. It's too irregular." Jack decided to investigate. He and a small team of trusted survivors moved cautiously through the tunnels. The air was thick with dust and the smell of decay. Every step echoed in the silence. The team came upon a hidden door, partly obscured by rubble. Jack's heart raced as he pushed it open. Behind it was a small, forgotten room, cluttered with old computers and strange devices. In the center of the room was a large metal box covered in dust. "What is this place?" Maria asked, brushing off the dust from the box. Jack took a deep breath and opened the box. Inside, they found a collection of old documents and a few pieces of advanced technology that seemed out of place. One device in particular caught their attention, a compact, high-tech gadget with strange symbols. Maria's eyes widened as she examined it. "This looks like it might be from before the Takara invasion. It could be important." Jack nodded. "We need to figure out what it does. If it's something useful, it might give us an edge." Back at their base, the survivors worked to analyze the new discoveries. Maria and a few others focused on the mysterious gadget, trying to understand its function. Days passed as they worked tirelessly, their hope growing with each breakthrough. Meanwhile, the Takara continued their relentless search for any remaining resistance. They patrolled the city and raided any signs of human activity. Their leader, Commander Zorak, was ruthless. He had no patience for failures and had promised total annihilation of the human race. Zorak's eyes were cold and his patience was thin. One night, as the survivors were deep in their work, the Takara's search led them to the outskirts of the city. They discovered signs of human presence in the area near the subway tunnels. The aliens increased their patrols, tightening their grip around the survivors. Inside the hidden room, Maria made a breakthrough. She discovered that the gadget was a communication device, capable of intercepting and decoding alien signals. This discovery was a glimmer of hope. It meant they could learn the Takara's plans and movements. Jack called a meeting with his team. "We've got something that could help us. This device can intercept Takara communications. We can use it to understand their strategies and maybe find a way to strike back." The survivors gathered around, their faces a mix of exhaustion and hope. The device was their chance to turn the tide. They worked to set it up, ensuring it was ready to intercept any alien transmissions. As they tuned into the device, they began to hear fragmented messages in an alien language. Maria worked quickly to decode them, translating the information into something they could use. The messages revealed the Takara's plans to conduct a major raid on a nearby human settlement. "This is our chance," Jack said, his voice filled with determination. "We can warn the other survivors and prepare for their attack. We might be able to make a difference." The team sprang into action. They sent out warnings and began preparing defenses. The Takara were closing in, but the humans now had a chance to fight back, armed with knowledge and hope. As the Takara approached, the survivors braced themselves. The odds were still against them, but the discovery of the device had given them a fighting chance. They were ready to defend their homes and show the aliens that humanity would not go down without a fight. The stage was set for a dramatic clash. The hidden danger had been uncovered, and the survivors were prepared to confront it head-on. The first steps towards resistance had begun, and the fight for Earth's future was just starting. Unexpected allies. In the aftermath of the successful defense against the Takara raid, the survivors of New York City were filled with cautious optimism. The intercepted alien communications had given them a critical advantage, but they knew the fight was far from over. Jack Carter, the group's leader, understood that to truly stand a chance against the relentless Takara, they needed more than just knowledge, they needed allies. The survivors had managed to secure a small but vital victory, but resources were still scarce. They had established a rough but functional base in the subway tunnels with makeshift barracks and a command center. Jack and his team worked tirelessly, but the strain was beginning to show. One day, while Jack was scanning through maps and alien reports, Maria, the tech expert, burst into the command center, her face alight with excitement. "Jack, you need to see this," Maria said urgently. Jack looked up from his work. "What's going on?" Maria handed him a small, battered device. "I picked up a distress signal from this old receiver. It's not from any Takara communication. It's from another group of survivors." Jack's eyes narrowed. "Another group? We need to find out more." Maria nodded. "I've already traced the signal to a location not too far from here. It looks like a small settlement." Jack gathered a team and prepared to investigate. They set out cautiously, knowing that the area might still be dangerous. The journey took them through the abandoned streets and darkened alleyways of the city. The air was tense, with every sound making them wary. Eventually, they reached the source of the signal, a fortified building surrounded by makeshift barriers and guard posts. The settlement was small but well defended. As Jack and his team approached, they were met with suspicion by the guards. "State your business," one of the guards called out, his weapon at the ready. Jack stepped forward, showing his identification and explaining their situation. "We're survivors from the city. We picked up a distress signal and came to see if we could help." The guards exchanged looks and then allowed them inside. The settlement was a hive of activity, with people working together to maintain defenses, tend to injured, and share supplies. The leader of the group, a tough woman named Elena, greeted Jack and his team. "Welcome to Haven," Elena said, shaking Jack's hand. "We've heard about the Takara attacks. If you're here to help, we're glad to have you." Jack nodded. "We're here to offer our assistance and to see how we might work together. We've had some successes and believe that combining our resources could make a difference." Elena was intrigued. "Tell me more about what you've been doing." Jack explained how they had intercepted alien communications and managed to defend against a major raid. Elena listened attentively, her expression a mix of hope and concern. "We've been struggling with our own battles," Elena said. "Supplies are low, and the Takara have been relentless. If your information is accurate, we might have a chance to turn things around." The two leaders discussed their respective strategies and found common ground. Elena's group had expertise in scavenging and fortifying their defenses, while Jack's team had valuable intelligence and combat experience. They agreed to form an alliance, pooling their resources and knowledge. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. Jack's team worked alongside Elena's people to improve the defenses of both settlements. They shared technology, coordinated patrols, and prepared for the next Takara offensive. The combined effort significantly bolstered their chances of survival. One night, as the two groups gathered around a makeshift campfire, Jack and Elena had a moment to talk privately. Elena spoke of her past, revealing that she had once been a scientist before the invasion. Her knowledge of technology and engineering had been crucial in their fight. "I used to work on advanced energy systems," Elena said. "Some of the technology we found might be more useful than we thought, but we need to understand it better." Jack nodded. "We have a tech expert, Maria. She's been working on decoding some alien technology. Maybe the two of them can collaborate." Elena agreed, and soon, Maria and Elena were working together, examining and testing various pieces of alien tech. They made significant progress, discovering new ways to counteract the Takara's advanced weaponry. As the days passed, the alliance between the two groups strengthened. They conducted joint training exercises, improved their supply lines, and shared intelligence. The combined effort brought a renewed sense of hope and unity. However, their success did not go unnoticed. The Takara, growing increasingly aware of the human resistance's growing strength, began to ramp up their efforts. The aliens increased their patrols and launched more frequent raids, trying to break the humans' newfound unity. One evening, as Jack and Elena reviewed their latest plans, Maria burst in, looking alarmed. "Jack, Elena, you need to see this. The Takara have intercepted our communications. They're planning a major assault on our combined base." The news was grim, but the Alliance was prepared. The combined forces quickly mobilized, setting up defenses and preparing for the attack. The Takara's next move would be crucial in determining the future of the human resistance. As night fell, the survivors, now united and stronger than ever, prepared to face the coming storm. They knew that their unexpected alliance was their greatest asset, and they were ready to fight for their survival and the future of their world. The alliance between Jack Carter's group and Elena's survivors had brought new hope to the battle against the Takara. The combined efforts had strengthened their defenses and improved their technology. But despite their progress, the threat of the Takara remained ever present. The aliens continued to launch raids, testing the limits of the human resistance. One cold morning, as the sun barely peeked through the smog-covered sky, Maria, the tech expert, was hard at work in a makeshift lab. She and Elena had been focused on studying the alien technology they had recovered. They hoped to find a way to turn the tide of the war in their favor. Elena's expertise in energy systems had been invaluable. Together with Maria, they had made significant advances. The lab was cluttered with wires, screens, and alien devices. They were working on a new device that could potentially disrupt the Takara's communications and defensive systems. Jack walked into the lab, his face lined with worry. "How's it going? Any breakthroughs?" Maria looked up, her face tired but excited. "We're close, Jack. This new device could be a game changer. If we can get it to work, it might give us a real edge." Elena nodded in agreement. "We're testing a prototype that can jam Takara signals and disrupt their control over their weapons. It's risky, but it could work." Jack felt a surge of hope. "Let's move forward with it. The sooner we test it, the sooner we can see if it's effective." The team worked tirelessly to finalize the prototype. They knew that the Takara would soon launch another major assault, and they needed to be ready. As the device neared completion, Jack and Elena decided it was time for a test run. They chose a remote location for the test, away from their main base, to avoid any potential fallout. The team transported the device and set it up in a deserted area, surrounded by makeshift barriers for protection. Maria made final adjustments, and Elena monitored the readings. "Everything is ready," Maria said, her voice steady. "We'll activate the device and see what happens." Jack gave a nod. "Let's do it." Maria activated the device, and a low hum filled the air. The device's lights flickered as it began to emit a signal. The team watched closely, monitoring the alien communication frequencies on their equipment. For a few tense minutes, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the screens lit up with static. The Takara's communications were being scrambled. The device was working. "This is incredible!" Elena exclaimed. "We're actually disrupting their signals." Jack felt a surge of triumph. This is exactly what we needed. If we can use this against them, it could change everything. They continued to monitor the effects of the device. The Takara's communication channels were becoming increasingly chaotic. The aliens' coordinated efforts were unraveling, and their tactical plans were being thrown into disarray. But as they celebrated their success, a new problem emerged. The device's power source was unstable. The team noticed fluctuations in its output, and it began to overheat. They quickly shut it down to avoid a potential explosion. "We need to fix this," Maria said urgently. "If the device overheats, it could be dangerous. We need a more stable power source." Jack and Elena worked together to find a solution. Elena suggested using energy cells from their stockpile, which were more reliable and had a higher capacity. They carefully modified the device, ensuring it would run more efficiently. After making the necessary adjustments, they prepared for another test. This time, they aimed to test the device under more demanding conditions. They set up a larger test area and activated the device once again. The results were even better than before. The Takara's communications were severely disrupted, and their weapon systems showed signs of malfunction. The device was proving to be a powerful tool against the invaders. "This is a breakthrough," Jack said, his voice filled with excitement. "We need to deploy this at our main base. It could give us a major advantage." Elena agreed. "We'll need to make sure the device is properly integrated into our defenses. It's our best chance to disrupt their attacks and gain the upper hand." The team quickly packed up the device and transported it back to their base. They worked around the clock to integrate it into their defense systems. The device was installed in a secure location with additional safeguards in place to prevent overheating. As the installation was completed, the Takara launched their anticipated assault. The aliens' ships appeared in the sky, their weapons primed for battle. The human alliance was ready. When the Takara began their attack, the new device was activated. The effects were immediate and dramatic. The aliens' communications were scrambled, and their weapon systems began to malfunction. The coordinated assault faltered as their plans unraveled. The human defenders took advantage of the chaos. They launched a counterattack, using the confusion to their benefit. The Takara were forced into a defensive position, and the humans managed to repel the assault more effectively than ever before. The battle was fierce, but the breakthrough proved to be a game-changer. The humans' newfound advantage allowed them to inflict significant damage on the Takara forces. The invaders were pushed back, and the humans emerged victorious in the latest clash. As the dust settled, Jack and Elena reviewed the results. The device had lived up to its promise, and the Alliance had achieved a significant victory. The breakthrough was a crucial step in their fight against the Takara, giving them hope and momentum. The battle was far from over, but the human resistance had shown their resilience and ingenuity. With their new advantage, they were more determined than ever to continue their struggle and defend their world from the alien threat. The fierce battle. The human resistance had gained a crucial advantage with their new device, but they knew that the Takara would not easily give up. The aliens, angered by their recent setback, were preparing for a major offensive. The skies above New York City were filled with the ominous hum of alien ships as they regrouped and planned their next assault. Jack Carter and Elena stood in the command center of their base, reviewing the latest intelligence reports. The new device had proven successful in disrupting Takara communications, but the aliens had begun to adapt. Their countermeasures were becoming more sophisticated, and it was clear that the next battle would be the fiercest yet. "We need to be ready for anything," Jack said, his voice steady. "The Takara are bringing everything they've got. We can't afford any mistakes." Elena nodded in agreement. "Our defenses are strong, but we need to use every advantage we have. We should coordinate with the other survivor groups and make sure everyone is prepared." The human forces, now united and stronger, began to prepare for the impending battle. The survivors fortified their positions, set up barricades, and stocked up on supplies. Every available fighter was assigned a role, and the tension was palpable as they awaited the alien onslaught. The night before the battle, the base was alive with activity. Teams worked tirelessly, setting up traps and finalizing their strategies. Jack and Elena made rounds offering encouragement and checking on the progress. Despite the fear and exhaustion, there was a sense of camaraderie and resolve. As dawn approached, the first sign of the Takara assault appeared on the horizon. Alien ships, sleek and menacing, filled the sky. The humans braced themselves for the fight of their lives. The Takara began their attack with a barrage of energy blasts, targeting the outer defenses of the base. The human defenders responded quickly. Anti-aircraft guns fired into the sky, and missile launchers sent projectiles streaking towards the alien ships. The air was filled with the roar of explosions and the crackle of energy beams. The battle had begun. Jack led his team to the front lines, directing the defense efforts. He shouted orders over the chaos, coordinating the response to the alien assault. The humans fought bravely, their resolve hardened by their recent victories and the knowledge that their survival was at stake. Elena, working with Maria and the tech team, focused on keeping the new device operational. The device was crucial in disrupting the Takara's weapon systems and communication. As the aliens launched waves of attacks, the device continued to jam their signals, causing confusion among their ranks. The Takara, realizing their plans were being thwarted, began to adapt their tactics. They deployed more heavily armored ships and increased the intensity of their attacks. The battle grew fiercer as the aliens pressed their assault, determined to break through the human defenses. In the thick of the fight, Jack and his team faced waves of alien soldiers. The Takara forces were relentless, using advanced weaponry and combat tactics. The human fighters fought back with every ounce of strength and skill they had, using guerrilla tactics and the knowledge gained from previous battles. Despite the relentless pressure, the humans held their ground. The combined firepower of their defenses and the disruption caused by the device allowed them to push back the alien forces. The tide of the battle seemed to shift in their favor, but the Takara were not ready to give up. In a desperate move, the Takara commander, Zorak, ordered a direct assault on the base's command center. His elite forces, specially trained for close combat, stormed the base, aiming to disable the humans' ability to coordinate their defense. The attack on the command center was intense. Jack, Elena, and their team fought to protect the heart of their operations. They faced off against Zorak's forces in a brutal battle, their courage and determination tested to the limit. Maria worked frantically to keep the device running amidst the chaos. The Takara were trying to disable it, and the device's power fluctuated dangerously. She and her team fought to maintain its operation, knowing that its continued functionality was critical to their defense. As the battle raged on, the humans began to take the upper hand. The Takara's assaults, though fierce, were met with fierce resistance. The device's disruption continued to cause problems for the aliens, and the coordinated defense by the humans began to wear down the Takara forces. With a final push, the human defenders managed to repel the alien assault. The Takara, having suffered heavy losses and unable to break through the defenses, were forced to retreat. The skies, once filled with alien ships, began to clear as the Takara withdrew. The base was battered but still standing. The defenders, though exhausted and wounded, had managed to hold their ground. Jack, Elena, and the rest of the team surveyed the aftermath, their faces reflecting a mix of relief and exhaustion. The battle had been fierce, but the humans had proven their strength and resilience. The Takara's attack had been thwarted, and the resistance had emerged victorious once again. The victory was hard-won, but it was a crucial step in the fight for survival. As the survivors tended to their wounded and repaired their defenses, there was a renewed sense of hope. The fierce battle had shown that the Alliance was capable of standing up to the Takara and that their fight for Earth was far from over. The struggle continued, but the humans had shown that they were not easily defeated. With their newfound strength and unity, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead and to continue their fight for a future free from the alien threat. The last stand. The victory against the Takara in the recent battle had provided a much-needed boost to the human resistance. But despite their success, Jack Carter and Elena knew that the Takara would not rest. The aliens were preparing for a decisive strike, one that could end the war once and for all. In the command center, Jack and Elena reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The Takara were massing their forces for a final assault. The data suggested that they planned to attack the heart of the human resistance, aiming to crush their stronghold and end their fight for good. "We need to prepare for the worst," Jack said, his voice grim. "This could be the final battle." Elena nodded. "We've held them off before, but this time they're bringing everything they have. We need to make sure we're ready." The survivors, now accustomed to the pressures of war, set to work. They reinforced their defenses, stockpiled supplies, and coordinated their plans. Every person was given a role, and the tension in the base was palpable as the countdown to the final battle began. In the days leading up to the attack, the base became a hive of activity. Jack and Elena held strategy meetings, reviewing their plans and preparing for every possible scenario. Maria and the tech team worked to ensure that their new device was fully operational and ready to disrupt the Takara's assault. As the Takara ships appeared on the horizon, their massive numbers blocking out the sun, the human defenders took their positions. The aliens began their assault with a relentless barrage of energy blasts, targeting the base's outer defenses. The ground shook with the force of the explosions, and the air was filled with the roar of alien weaponry. Jack led his team to the front lines, directing the defense efforts with calm precision. He shouted orders, coordinating the response to the Takara's attack. The human fighters, bracing for the impact, fought back with everything they had. The base's defenses held firm, but the aliens continued to press their assault. Elena and Maria focused on the new device, making sure it was running smoothly. The device was crucial in jamming Takara communications and disrupting their weapon systems. As the alien ships closed in, the device continued to emit its powerful signal, causing chaos among the Takara forces. Despite the device's effectiveness, the Takara began to adapt their tactics. They deployed heavily armored units and began to bypass some of the base's defenses. The battle grew fiercer as the aliens pressed their assault, determined to break through the human stronghold. In the heart of the base, the command center was under threat. Takara soldiers breached the outer perimeter and advanced towards the core of the human operations. Jack, Elena, and their team fought desperately to hold the line. The battle was intense, with both sides locked in a brutal clash. Maria worked frantically to keep the device operational, knowing that its continued functionality was critical to their defense. The Takara were targeting it directly, and its power fluctuated dangerously. Maria and her team fought to maintain its operation, using every tool at their disposal. As the battle raged on, Jack and Elena realized that their defenses might not hold. The Takara's elite forces were pushing through, and the base's defenses were being overrun. Jack made a crucial decision to deploy their final reserve forces, a last-ditch effort to stem the tide of the alien assault. The reserve forces, trained for such emergencies, engaged the Takara in a fierce counterattack. They fought with fierce determination, knowing that the survival of their base and their people depended on their success. The clash was brutal, with both sides taking heavy losses. The fighting was fierce and personal. The Takara commander, Zorak, led the charge, his presence a constant threat. Jack and Zorak faced off in a climactic battle, their skills and determination pushed to their limits. The fight was intense, each blow a testament to their commitment to their cause. As the battle continued, the human defenders began to turn the tide. The Takara's assault was slowing, their forces suffering from the relentless resistance. The new device, despite its power fluctuations, continued to disrupt the alien systems, giving the humans a critical edge. In a final push, the human forces managed to repel the Takara assault. The aliens, having suffered heavy losses and unable to break through the defenses, were forced to retreat. The skies cleared as the Takara ships withdrew, their attack thwarted. The base was battered, but it had withstood the final assault. The defenders, exhausted and wounded, had managed to hold their ground. Jack, Elena, and their team surveyed the aftermath, their faces a mix of relief and fatigue. The last stand had been a harrowing test of their strength and resolve. The human resistance had faced their greatest challenge and emerged victorious. The Takara's final push had been repelled, and the threat to their base had been neutralized. As the survivors tended to their wounded and began the process of recovery, there was a renewed sense of hope. The fierce battle had proven that the human resistance was not easily defeated, and their fight for survival continued. The struggle was far from over, but the victory in the last stand had given them a new sense of purpose and determination. With their defenses reinforced and their resolve strengthened, the human resistance prepared for the next chapter in their fight for freedom. The aftermath. After the final battle, the humans win, but the world is left in ruins. They begin to rebuild their society and create a new future. The alien threat is over, but the humans face the challenge of recovery. Their struggle changes their understanding of what it means to be strong and united. A new era. Years after the fierce battle, humanity has rebuilt its world, thriving once more under the clear skies they fought so hard to protect. The story of their victory over the Takara echoes across the galaxy, inspiring countless others. The once feared aliens are now just a distant memory, their threat long extinguished. Humans are celebrated as heroes, their bravery and resilience becoming legend. Their legacy endures, a shining testament to their unbreakable spirit and determination.